On this week's World of Saltwater Fishing, it's part 2 of my trip to the Cape Eleuthera Resort and Marina in the Bahamas. Good friend Harry Vernon III and I are going to get on the reefs and wait until you see the yellowtail we start pulling up.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing, celebrating 20 years of fishing television excellence. Big fish don't stand a chance.
You don't come this far into the Bahamas just to offshore fish. At least I don't. I mean, offshore is my forte. That's what I love to do. But when you come this far, you have to take at least one day to sample the reef fishing, because at some of these resorts and locations, the reef fishing can be sensational, and the Cape Eleuthera Resort and Marina is one of these places. That morning, we had yellowtail tackle rigged ready to go. We loaded up one of the fish boxes with the frozen block chum from Bait Masters of South Florida. We were set to go.
George had his numbers from the last time we were here. So we ran to this little special spot. If you want to really know, ask George where it's at, or call me. No. So we set up and we make our first drift to see which way we were going to drift, to see how the current and the wind's going. And we're trying to fish that 70, 80 foot of water, and it goes from 70, 80, 1,000 feet. And you're like, wow, look at the fish coming off that edge though, off that bank. So we're like trying to get as close as we could.
And we decided to venture to the down current side of this particular area that we're gonna fish. And you gotta remember, we're fishing reefs that in that 70, 80 foot zone. And at some points, they might go out to maybe 300 feet of water, 350, and then from there, the world ends. I mean, it just goes straight down to China. So you have limited partials of real estate, so to speak, to work. And as we got near the down current side of this particular structure area, the Simrad just lit up. So it said, this is it, let's go ahead and anchor up. So this is how we started. Harry was with the yellowtail jigs. I was starting off with the circle hooks, block of chum overboard, and we're free lining out. And I guess I was a little bit over anxious in that Harry was back there for about maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and nothing. I'm thinking to myself, oh, come on, don't tell me that, you know, there's too much life here. Those yellowtail got to be around. Then 4 minutes, 5 minutes, nothing. Harry's free lining back again, and I was getting chum ready or cutting baits, whatever. So I decided to get the game in free line. All of a sudden, you see Harry's rod bent. All right, let's see how you can lose this one.
Pretty easy. I don't like the quality of the fish, George. I get them to come off quicker. It's like an aquarium down there, George. look behind the boat.
I see it. I see the machine. Simrad's going nuts. Everything behind the boat's going nuts.
You're going nuts?
I am if you don't get this big flag in the boat.
Oh, I don't think it's a flag. Is it?
Yes. What's that, your friend's name? Carlos at the Latex Ice Center? Gabriel. Look at the size of that freaking tail. Oh my God. Unreal,
you know what's
man.
crazy about this thing?
What?
Is if you really unhook that thing real quick so I can catch another one.
Okay. I'm gonna do that for you. And not only was it a yellowtail, but his very first fish was a nice sized yellowtail. All right, they're here. Now let's see if they're here in the numbers that they were the last time.
So that's what's great about fishing an area that doesn't get pounded every single day. Just great. Throw the small strip with the little jig on it, throw it back, or just a hook with a strip of squid or strip of ballyhoo or silverside, and these yellowtail just inhale it, and it's just one after another. It was really neat fishing that way and using heavy leader.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn. Let the battle begin. Mako. You'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela. Your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine. Go boldly. George will be right back.
The yellowtails are big and solid behind the MARC VI. Harry Vernon and I are fishing out of the Cape Eleuthera Resort and Marina, a 252-mile one-way crossing from Miami's Haulover Inlet. It was definitely frustrating to watch Harry, miss 2 or 3 fish, but the good news, the fish were here and it appeared that they were here solid. And Harry, you don't know whether he's playing games or maybe, age is creeping up on him, or maybe it's a combination of both, but he gets this beautiful yellowtail. I'm talking about a monster, and I'm looking down there and I see this thing come up alongside the boat. My God, Harry, look at that.
They're big tails. You got a tail now, hurry up, because that AJ's gonna come on you.
Oh, Jesus.
Those are big tails.
You sure? This doesn't look like a tail. It looks awfully
Harry,
dark.
trust me, it's a tail. Hurry, see the amberjack behind
See the
you?
amberjack right behind it.
Come on, come on, come on, come
Get out
on,
of the
come on,
motor.
come on.
Nice tail. Oh, I didn't like that one. George just gets all upset for whatever reason. And I'm like, well, hey, we'll just get another one. Take it easy.
Trust me, I took Harry 252 miles to fish here. We're gonna get him dialed in and get the rust off him here in fast order.
Nice yellowtail. Thank. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at Harry, I'm trying to eat the thing. What the heck is
Big amberjack.
big hand? Oh, look at that size of that tail. That's a flag, Harry.
Oh, look at that amberjack.
Get that tail.
Oh,
Get the yellowtail in.
Look
Heck
at
with
that
the
amberjack. See him right there?
You're a high blood pressure kind of guy to fish with.
Put
You know
that, So we're sitting there catching one yellowtail after another. I get this other yellowtail right next to the boat. An amberjack comes up, boom, tries to eat my yellowtail. I'm just leaving him in the water to see if he can get him to eat. George again telling me to get that fish out of the water. The amberjack's gonna eat him. I wanna watch him eat him.
By now, we would see these large yellow or golden balls starting to come up from the depths and materializing in a chum slick. And all you had to do was free line a bait back anywhere near that, and you would just see them all charge out and try to get it. And you would hook up, and they would run you straight down to the bottom. So in this situation, they're all big. It's gonna be hard to stop a fish from taking you at least halfway down to the bottom, if not a little bit beyond that. You have to turn this fish, because the deeper it gets to its lair down there, there's big groupers down below that they're gonna pick it off. There's big kings, there's sharks, there's barracuda. You got a lot of predators.
Tail's right there. You gotta do the bouncer trick. You just gotta keep winding.
Oh, look at the size of that guy. He's back there. He's looking at, look at the shark. Little 4-footer. Boy, George, that's on you. But you had to really use some heavy stuff to get these guys up, and you had to get them quick, otherwise they're gone.
So not only were the yellowtails coming up, and when there's a predator fish around, they would disappear. And then, sure enough, they would come back up. They would come in these waves, but they were always there. And it set up the perfect sight fishing opportunity where Harry and I were actually sight fishing the tails that we wanted to catch.
Whoa. 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 Oh, uh-oh. Look at that big thing. Look at the size of that jack.
Oh my, that's
The shark. Never mind.
That's a shark. That's not good news. Oh, and I'm cut off here.
Well, let me get this guy in because
Oh,
we're not
come over
donating
here, hold that
this
up,
guy
Harry, for the
to
camera.
We're
Get
not
over here and
gonna,
make some
we're
moves
not
on
gonna
that one.
donate this guy.
Pull that one up.
We almost did. Look at this guy. Hold still. I can't even get my hand around it.
It was like glorified bone fishing, but here we were in 70 some odd feet of water, pitching out silver sides or a piece of bonita to the yellowtail that you wanted to catch, where you actually picked out the larger one. And that in itself was just an absolute blast. And to get yellowtails like that, you have to be out here to experience it to really get the true feeling of it all.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is brought to you by Simrad. Go with Simrad and go with confidence. Rapala Coastal, another great day. Suffix, always use the best line. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. George will be right back.
Harry, Vernon, and I made the 252-mile one-way crossing from Miami's Haulover Inlet to the Cape Eleuthera Resort Marina in search of outstanding fishing. And this yellowtail bite certainly didn't disappoint. So as we're putting yellowtails in the box, I'm noticing that our fish box is really starting to become populated.
The yellowtail were so thick behind the boat, it was just crazy. We were literally picking out the yellowtails that we wanted to catch. They were just swimming all around the boat, and we're like, all right, look at that one there. We would pitch a bait right in front of him. He would just whoop, come up and eat it, set the hook, got him on, got him on.
So we went into a catch and release mode, releasing these flag yellowtails, which is amazing. Then I noticed that the current starts slowing a bit. That royal blue water is now starting to turn more of an aqua, green type of a shade. And with that, the yellowtails pretty much disappeared, but the mackerel turned on.
That's a nice tail.
Mackerel. I got my mackerel too. You got a mackerel and a tail on the jig, huh?
Oh, look at the size of this guy.
Oh, you went back to yellowtail, didn't you?
No, I just.
What did he eat?
I don't know what happened. Look at the shark down there. This is a nice one.
Oh, there's a keeper.
God.
I work at Williamson Jig, and you went for yellowtail?
Just a flat line and a piece of chunk of bonita that you caught earlier. Stripped him up. Dude, we're using 30-pound leader.
Unheard of to try to even do that.
Normally I'll fish straight 15 just to get a bite.
Yeah.
But there's so many of these guys, and they're so big.
And we're playing around, just throwing jigs and everything back there. It just goes to show you the life form that's in that chum slick.
Yeah.
So George loves catching his kingfish. He'll sit there, get me a yellowtail, not so big. I need a smaller yellowtail. I go, they're all big. How am I going to get you a small yellowtail? So sure enough, I catch one that's not so big, and he's excited, gets his hook rig out, puts it out, and he's floating it out there. Sure enough, he gets hit.
Excuse me, please.
Put that thing on here.
Got bud. Whoa. Wow.
Come on up.
Get you. High gear or low gear? Nice taker.
Oh.
I fight this fish, and as the fight progresses, you sort of lose that enthusiasm. At first you think you got a big black grouper because the weight took you straight down to the reef. Then the more this thing starts to change the strategy and running outward, it's turning out to a totally different fish where it's not a grouper anymore, and you're starting to think, do I have a shark?
Here's the leader.
Yeah, there's the shark.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna grab the
Good gloves.
gloves. I'm not grabbing the bare handed. Should have thought of this a little earlier.
You think?
Come on, Knot. Come on, Dunn.
Whoa.
You got a tag in him?
No, I don't know. I think psoriasis.
Look on this back.
I see it.
Now what do you want to do? They say if you turn them over and rub their belly, they go to sleep.
Put them to sleep. It was a shot.
buddy.
Looking for the grouper. That's sometimes you get that.
No, I think you had a grouper. I think you just ate your grouper.
No, I think I put a happy yellowtail and I think he had happy
He
yellowtail.
ate a happy yellowtail. You got another half. Let's get another shark. I mean, grouper. No.
And by this time, I looked at Harry, says, Harry, we have a lot of fish to clean. Let's pull anchor, head to the barn, and we're gonna clean some fish. The Cape Eleuthera Resort Marina is an incredible destination. It's the southern end of Eleuthera in a very remote area with so much fish potential.
We go to eat dinner again at the restaurant. We sit down. Chris joins us, and he's the manager of the marina, does a phenomenal job. The guy's awesome. And he's sitting there starting to talk to us, and we're eating dinner. He's like, hey, you guys want to go catch some crabs? And I'm like, stone crabs? Sure, why not? And he's, no, land crabs. Well, land crabs?
And I go, crabs? There's no blue claw crabs hanging out in the Bahamas. Is it stone crabs? No, land crabs. Well, land crabs.
I go, what do you do when you catch them? He goes, we eat them.
This turned out to be pretty cool sport, but we did a great land crab hunt, which is a very interesting way to spend an evening. And was it exciting as the yellowtail fishing that we had earlier? No. Was it different? Yes. Was it great and a lot of fun at least? Yeah. And did we get killed? No. So in all, it was a good night.
But it was fun. We had a blast. We were able to keep them, and they eat them.
George's Tackle Locker brought to you by King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
Engel is known for their virtually indestructible coolers that hold ice and cold for several days. Stand on them, fight fish from them, subject them to rough seas, it doesn't matter. Engel also has a broad lineup of other durable fishing-related items. In addition to their coolers, which I use their 65-quart model for our drinks, and their 35-quart model with Engel bait trays for my trolling baits, their stainless steel, vacuum-insulated performance mugs are designed to be just as tough. They'll also hold the warmth or cold of your drink for far more than they'll ever need to. Our lunches, for example, are also packed inside Engel's HD20 waterproof soft-sided coolers. Their toughness comes in part from outer shells of durable 840 denier fibers, and their fronts and sides being laminated with thermoplastic urethane for yet another layer of strength and puncture resistance. They keep the cold through closed-cell foam insulation, welded seams, and a vacuum valve which enables excess air to be sucked out prior to packing the cooler. They also sport an integrated bottle opener. To keep our lunches cool, we simply add an Engel hard-shell freezer pack. Take a look at the Engel lineup of performance products. If you're into fishing or the outdoors, they most certainly will have you covered.
Mercury Performance Stats, Cape Eleuthera, Bahamas. Yellowtailing. Seas, calm. Power. Triple Mercury Verado 400 horsepower outboards. Props. Mercury Inertia Eco 21-inch pitch. Consistent cruise, 5,000 RPMs. Speed, 50 miles per hour. Total miles, 36. Total fuel burned, 38 gallons. George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is brought to you by Starbright, professional-grade boat care products. The Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum, never a spectator. King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
All right, so the deal with George and I most of the time is he sits back, he Starbrights the boat, cleans it up, gets it going. I'm the lucky guy that gets fish guts, blood all over me and everything, and I sit there and fillet the fish. So sure enough, I'm sitting there filleting the fish. Everything's going great. Got my Papa's Pilar there. Everything's going good. Taking my time. Who shows up? George. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? You know what? He shows up. I have one fish left to fillet.
Now, I don't know what Harry means, where I always let him clean the fish. And he's trying to tell me that I joined him for like the last 2 or 3 yellowtails to clean. If my memory serves me, I remember loading up the yellowtails in a couple of these Starbright buckets and putting them in a cart and actually wheeling the cart to the fish cleaning table, offloading them. You know, I had the knife, and then Harry shows up to give me a hand. I gave him a knife.
So he goes to help me fillet the fish. Actually, there was a couple more than one, but sure enough, my buddy shows up to help fillet. The boat wasn't that bad, and he got it cleaned up pretty quick, but we were able to whack these fish out pretty good.
And that's what we did. And we were throwing the scraps overboard. And we had these nurse sharks just rolling over each other, trying to get the scraps of yellowtails at the fish cleaning tables.
Well, we caught enough fish to feed 200 families. It was so crazy out there. And I mean, from mackerel, horseye jacks to yellowtail, just kingfish, mackerel, we caught enough fish to sink the Titanic. That's how great it was. Well, this is the part that I hate to talk about. You know, I turn around, I look back, and I look at the Cape Eleuthera sign, and as we're pulling out, we've got all the gear loaded back up, and we're leaving. I just look back, and I'm staring at it, like, man, I really didn't want to leave. You know, this is one of those places that you just want to hang out and stay there, and even if you find new friends, you know, it's the place to go. And thank goodness, again, the weather was absolutely spectacular. We made our trip right back to Nassau to the Pocket, Chubb, from Chubb to Bimini, Bimini to right back to Haulover Inlet. And it was just a great, smooth trip back. It didn't take us all day to get there again. It was just super great trip with George, man. I had a lot of fun. I hope I'm alive next time to see it again. Go with the guy. I'm getting up there in age. But for 2 old guys, we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
What more can I say about my fishing trip with Harry Vernon III, or long-range run 252 miles from Miami to the Cape Eleuthera Resort Marina? Even going 10 minutes away from a boat ramp with Harry to fish is a pleasure and an experience all unto itself. This was yet another classic trip, and he and I seem, more times than not, when we get together going on a fishing trip, our horseshoes always seem to be in the upright position because luck follows us around. This was yet another trip where we had exceptional catches, and I guarantee you in the future, Harry and I will be back at it again, racking up more exceptional catches. This is what you do when you have a good friend like him. You enjoy your time on the water, period. If you'd like to keep up with our fishing adventures, please follow me on Instagram. I'm at George Poveromo. On Facebook, I'm at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. And you can view our episodes at any time on our YouTube channel, George Poveromo TV. We'll see you out on the water.